HD-A tube and pipe bending machine. This is a heavy-duty unit that can bend the maximum capacity up to probably around 3.5 inches. You can bend a maximum radius of about 12 inches, minimum radius of approximately maybe 8 inches. We're looking at the controls here. Down here we have a depth of bend plate. This depth of bend plate, if you set it at a certain degree, the machine will bend to that degree, stop, and then retract. Up here in the front are your two buttons that control the electronics. The button on the left is for an automatic bend cycle. The button on the right is for an emergency reverse cycle. An eye bolt on top of this die. That eye bolt is used for lifting and replacing or removing the bending die. This heavy-duty model utilizes two side cylinders versus the lower cylinder using two chains to control the counterbalance pressure of the gates. Instead, we're using these two cylinders, which gives us a lot more forces applied to the bending, as well as consistency in terms of alignment. The unit is completely self-contained. This particular unit has a 15 horsepower motor, 10 gallon a minute pump. There's a solenoid valve, oil filter, has its own reservoir. It'll work on 230 or 440 volts. Top cylinder here can generate up to 70 tons of bending forces. Back of the machine we see the reservoir, and there's a little oil level gauge there, as well as a oil fill cap. Now we're looking at the sequence valve. This is the valve that controls the counterbalance pressure when you're making a bend. This counterbalance pressure is applied at the gates, so when the bending motion is going forward, the gates will have some counterbalance pressure in order to make a good bend, especially for thin wall material. With this knob you adjust the pressure, and the pressure gauge here we read it. Up ahead here, or up on top, we have a flow control valve. This flow control valve will control the pressure pulling the gates back after the bend cycle. This way the gates will not stay out open condition when we're retracting the bending die. We normally set this pressure around 500 psi. It's a solenoid valve, and down below here we're looking at the system pressure relief valve. With this valve you can adjust the pressures you need for making the specific bends for the specific material. We normally set this pressure at 3000 psi, and we leave it at that setting. Electrical starter box. This is the magnetic starter because of the size of the motor. And it's 220 or 440 volts. Now a micro switch that controls the return of the bending cylinder. We'll see this in our demonstration here shortly. We're going to make a bend here. The first thing he'll do, let's say he's going to make a 90-degree bend. He'll take this arm right here, and then he'll move it over to 90 degrees, and that's where he's going to make a bend. Well, that's the degree of bend he'll end up with. Okay. Now he'll place the pipe inside the dies. And then he'll hit the blue button in the front there. Presses the blue button. The bending die advances. Makes the bend. Up to 90 degrees. Makes a proximity switch in the bottom. and then it returns. It makes this proximity switch right here, and the bend is complete. And here's the bend right there. Now we're taking a look at the bend after it's completed. This is approximately a 90 degree. Please note that there are stickers that we place them strategically around the areas where are possible pinch points, or where there are pinch points. We have one back here at the pusher block, of course here at the gates. This unit is also ideal for making prototype bends using the foot pedals. We have these two foot pedals right here that will make the bending zone go forward and reverse. If you don't want to use the automatic cycle, these foot pedals allow for making prototype bends and developing different bends for different products. Another product designed by AMH.